Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Mashonda Shines. Well, welcome back to another edition of Try Beginner's Luck. Timing is everything. And everything happens for a reason. Before coming on completely, Miss Merle, who's my wonderful guest today, and I was having like this really very deep conversation that it took us 41 minutes just to talk about the stuff so that we could talk about the stuff. But that to me is the most impactful part of meeting people that I get to interview. I want to go back to tell you how I met Miss Merle, because honestly, I didn't even know she existed until USA Triathlon had a panel during Black History Month called Empowering Narratives, a Black History panel. And so when Miss Merle came on the screen, we were like, so tell me more, who, what, when, where, how have we not known you? Because the Black community in triathlon is relatively small if you choose to engage with that particular community. So you kind of know. We did not know that Miss Merle and her late husband have had the longest running triathlon on the island of Long Island for 43 years. Now, you would think, like, how, Sway? Like, how? We probably know how and why, but it doesn't matter because now we do. And so my objective during this conversation is to introduce Miss Merle Mc Donald Aaron to this audience in hopes that if you want to participate in a race in New York, you would go and participate with her race. It's beginner friendly, it's fun, it's in New York, has lots of flavor. And so now that we know, knowing is half the battle. And so I am so excited to welcome to this audience the most amazing, beautiful, talented, bossed up chick I know to this audience. And let me just let you know, she's not only a race director, but she owns a motel. So she's running the motel. She used to be the president of the Chamber of Commerce in the area. She's done a lot in the city, in the area of Montauk. And so now she gets to bring some wisdom to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast. Miss Merle, welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing fine. Thank you. And thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, I remember meeting you because we logged on first for the Empowering Conversations panel.
Yeah.
And I was just like wanting all the tea. I said, I need to know how, when, where, why. Like, I needed to know everything. And the one thing I remembered is we had a really sacred moment where there was a lot of things happening, and we just took a moment, took a beat, a deep breath, and prayed. And we were like, you know what? It's all going to be good. It was like meeting a family member for the first time. And I remember stating specifically, welcome to the family reunion, because that's when you meet so many people who you do not know, but they're connected to you. And even though you are not technically in my family, you're in my triathlon family, and we are connected because of this beautiful sport. And so I was just in awe that as a Black woman in this space who takes up a little bit of space, being a race announcer, who the opportunities are coming, right? But a podcast host where people are finding out more about what I do and what I get to do in the audience that I get to bring it to. But as a race director, that you've been in this business for almost as long as I've been alive, I almost have problems with why I'm just finding out about this. But I also understand that there's been a lot of things that have happened over the years, right? And so the evolution of how we've developed as a country, as a sport, the mask is off, and now we get to see you and honor your husband's legacy. And so I know your husband started it, and by nature of being connected with your husband, you've been a part of it the entire time as well. This is a little bit different, y'all, because is Miss Merrill a triathlete? No. But does she support the race that we get to do and provide a safe atmosphere for us to participate in? Absolutely. And therefore, that qualifies you because you've been trying beginner's luck for a long time.
Yeah.
And clearly, you are constantly winning. I can see it with your smile. And so, I just want to talk to you about your race experience and having the longest running, which has to mean there's some success behind it, race in the city of Long Island in Montauk. So tell us about this experience.
Oh, where do I start? Um, the triathlon, as you said earlier, my husband, he started off, he was a triathlete. And he felt he was a very adventurous kind of a person. And after he did his first triathlon, he decided that Montauk, for those who don't know, is at the end of Long Island. After Montauk is the water. So it's a very unique little hamlet, very summer oriented. So we have what we call out here the shoulder season, off season, and the peak season. So he figured after he did the race, he figured putting on a triathlon in Montauk in the shoulder season would be a great way to bring business into the hamlet. Because, and one of the things he did, this is one of the few races that's actually on a Saturday morning instead of a Sunday morning. So we figure if people came out to Montauk, they would be here for a weekend rather than just come and race on Sunday and head back out of town. So he started the race, and the very first race he did was on Main Street in the village. And he decided swim, bike, run wasn't making sense. So he said, okay. So they would do the bike first. And then when they're tired, when they're hot from the bike, they would dive in the water and do the swim. And then they'll be relaxed and then they will do the run. So he changed the format of the race because he figured that was the better way to go. Anyhow, well, he soon realized that, of course, that was not the way to go. And he did change it around and did the right thing, swim, bike, run, as everybody else know it right now. One of the jokes we have on the race, there is one particular guy who unfortunately is deceased now too, handsome young man. He decided on Main Street when they were changing from the bike to the run, he dropped his pants on Main Street and he was stark naked on Main Street. So that is one of the jokes for all the people who have been doing this race for years. They always remember that Steve dropped his pants on Main Streets kind of thing. So that's exactly how far back. There was no form or anything with the race. It was just a race, a fun race. And over the years, but of course, it started off slow. And over the years, it picked up momentum. We got sanctioned by USAT, so we had to follow all the rules. And over the years, we kept growing. I mean, at the height of the race, we would have over 700 people participating in this small town, which was, I mean, unbelievable. And we are still here today, and hopefully we'll be here for the years to come.
What a story. I love how your husband took initiative to change it based off of what his rationale was, because a lot of times we're like, well, why does this make sense? Like, let's just change it to make it a little different. And so the fact that he did that to me is just shows the visionary and how bold he was and not afraid to change things up. And I think in this sport, change is really challenging for folks
Yeah,
to try something different.
yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
it's like this is how it's always been. This is how it's always going to be. And I appreciate that. Although he did change it back, it's fine. We get it. We changed it back. But I do believe in what you told me about your husband being an adventurous man who wasn't just afraid of change. And I think you can't do something for 43 years without being afraid to change things along the way so that you are more adaptable to the times. And so, what has it been like over the past 4 decades to change with the times in order to stay relevant?
Okay, so one of the changes that I had to make, and I know it's the way to go, it's the modern way to do it, but it's still something that I kind of regret that we had to do. We sent out our application through the mail. We mailed out applications year after year. And all the triathletes, of course, would send their forms back with their check for their registration. I knew almost every one of these triathletes by name.
Mm.
I mean, there was a personal connection with the triathletes because year after year, I know who would be the first ones to come back. I know who would be the last to come back. I know who the ones would be saying to me just 2 days before the race, well, I forgot to mail my application in. Can I still get in? I know these guys. Now, with the advent of the online registration, you have lost that personal connection with the triathletes. They are
Mm.
now just a name on a computer screen rather than that live person that you're dealing with. So that's one of the things I think I had to move into the modern world. And believe me, I resisted for as long as I could. I'm not one to give in too easily. I resisted. But unfortunately, I had to give in eventually. So,
Understand that, but I also understand like the personal touch. And
yeah.
that personal touch sometimes is the difference maker. And a lot of times people come back to races over and over again because of that personal connection. They like how the race director did X, Y, and Z. They like how they felt. They enjoyed the experience. And so I can see how you wrestled and had some tension between that, those two, parallels. Like it's not one way that's right or the wrong way. It's just what's more efficient and accessible for people. And so, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
And by knowing these triathletes' name when they come to do packet pickup, you can greet everybody because you know who they are.
Yeah.
And you say, hi, how the family is doing? How is this one? What's going on? Did you recover from your injury? Something you have that one-on-one, which you
Yeah.
really don't have thanks to computers.
Yeah. So that aspect of that personal connection was taken away, but how do you maintain that today? Because you probably still have that special sauce that you are able to engage with your athletes. So what do you do now to maintain that personal level of connection?
Okay, so when we have our post-race party for one, our post-race party, that's where I reconnect with everybody on an annual basis. I mean, this is where a lot of my triathletes said that they don't come to race, they come to a family reunion, as you said earlier. Um, one of my, this was really touching for me with one of the triathletes who had a tragedy in his family and he had to miss 1 year. And the next year he came up to me and he was actually staying at a motel too. And he came to check in and he said, oh, I'm so happy I got to see you in person. He said, because I wanted to tell you, I just missed last year. I missed my family last year. And he was the first one to say to me, it's not a race, it's the reunion because this is my family. I come here every year just to be with my family. So I try and that's how I try to keep in touch, to keep that level of personal touch with everybody. I talk, I talk to them, we joke, it's just a fun thing. And that's the whole vibe of the race. I had to tell somebody one. I said, look, I said, if you want to go to a race where you want your time to be down to the perfect second or half second, you're in the wrong race. I said, this race is fun. It's competitive because we have some really good triathletes here, but it's also a fun race. So if the timer is off by 2 minutes, say, hi, next year I'll bet you I'll get back the 2 minutes. So don't worry about it, you know. And that's the way I like to keep this race. Fun, family friendly, real old town, hometown vibe. That's this race. If that's the race you're looking to do, if you're looking for a real hometown type race, come to Montauk. It's a little far, but it's worth it.
I want to touch on being USA sanctioned because I know that you said that at first you were not USA sanctioned and then you became USA sanctioned.
Mhm.
Being USA sanctioned, what have you realized as some of the positives about being a sanctioned race?
One of the main thing about being sanctioned is the fact that you're insured, because multi-sport, this type of race, anything can happen.
Mm.
And knowing that you have an insurance company behind you, I think that takes 95% of the stress off.
Mm.
So that's one thing. Um, in terms of the rest of it, I don't know. I mean,
It's
I
fair
am a
to not know.
certified, I am a certified race director. So I guess that says something.
Yeah.
But I think the insurance is basically the main thing I get from USAT.
Okay. 43 years in the game, your USA sanctioned race,
Mm-hmm.
and 2024 is the first year that we've seen you or know about your race. How did this come about? Like, how did you get on the panel? Because I'm curious, because to be a female, difference. Okay, so if you was a black male, of course I can see like the vibrato, but you're very so soft spoken, and so I don't see you putting up a fuss or anything like me. I'm like, hello, but no, um, that's sometimes me. No, that's all the time me. Okay, fine. I know me. So I just want to know because I was so shocked and was just a little outdone. Like, wait a minute, how did this
For
happen?
you.
So, how did you get connected? Or, I mean, you've been connected, but how did you get engaged? Let's say.
And Megan is the one who actually approached me. Um, for some reason, I don't even know. I could only assume that was somebody recommended me or what. I don't know. But she approached me and asked me if I would be on this panel. And at first, I was kind of hesitant because I'm saying, I'm not a triathlete. So what am I doing on this panel? What am I going to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, well, no, it's not, you don't have to be a triathlete. At least you're involved in the sport and you have some experience in the sport. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's time I put myself out there, because normally I would stay in the background and I would do my thing. I am not, she say, I'm not one pushy. I always say, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So I keep it smooth and
But vinegar is good too.
I mean, vinegar has its
I'm
work.
just kidding.
Yeah, it has its work.
We like both because vinegar with a little bit of honey makes a good salad dressing. Just,
Ooh, there you go.
but I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, I love it. I'm just really excited, and what I appreciate is that you said it's time. Again, we talked about that earlier about the timing and how the perfect timing and everything happens for a reason, and then you just capsulated it right there and said it's time, and for you to stop hiding. and maybe it's time to come out. And thank you for
Yeah,
stepping into probably a vulnerable space that was uncomfortable for you. And in that uncomfort, look at the growth and expansion. So I had this revelation this weekend, and it might resonate with some of those who are training right now in this recovery situation, and or just in life. I think it's a life thing. And I said, I sometimes am very tense when I run. I run with really tight fists versus having like this nice loose. And as I was running the other day, I had this thought. I said, oh my goodness, when people hold on to something so tightly, nothing can come in.
yeah,
When you release a little bit, you open up for things to come in.
yeah.
But it gets even better. Let's talk about the body. We
Mhm.
have this thing called fascia that we have to release in order to get better gains. And I'm on this recovery tip because I just discovered my new BFF, which is the foam roller. And it's only taken me 10 years in this sport to even love the foam
Oh,
rolling. Like
okay.
now it's a part of my daily activity. If I don't have the foam roller, I'm kind of grouchy. Okay. And I said, oh my goodness, foam rolling is there to help release the fascia that's so tight, because if nothing can come in from all of the workouts and adaptation, then it's pointless. You're working out in vain if you're not allowing any new things to come in. And so I think this is a lesson for all of us to release our grip
Yeah, I
and
got
welcome in some freshness, fresh
that.
blood that can change your circumstances. And
Ah,
I appreciate you because we would have not known about you. And perhaps this might not be people's favorite episode because you're not a triathlete, but you're dropping nuggets and you're providing a fun, family friendly atmosphere to try, because triathlon can be intimidating. And to see a friendly face, welcoming environment, that picture looks absolutely stunning back there. Like I would love to go in those crystal clear waters or the blue hues. Like that's important to people. And so release your grip, whoever I'm talking to. And if this is resonating with you, release it, because nothing good ever comes when you're bound up and holding things so tight. We don't own any of this stuff. We're just getting to enjoy it while we're here.
true. Exactly.
That's
That's,
it.
that's my
The
mantra. You
moment
can't
we
take it
leave,
with
it
you.
goes.
You can't take it with you. That's my mantra. So enjoy.
Help people along the way. Have a free hand. You
Yep,
just don't know how far it can go.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
flavor to your race. Do something a little different. Add flavor to your workouts. Do something different. Different things, although it may be uncomfortable, welcomes in newness and a freshness.
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
I
I'm
have.
off my soapbox. Release, relax, relate, release. That's
Yeah.
release. Relax, relate, release.
So you
Okay.
release. Yes, so I'm released as well. So we are good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. I'm here for it. I want to ask more about your race. Like, do you offer various disciplines, distances? What if people were to come to the Mighty Montauk race? What are their options?
Okay. So again, we go back to my crazy husband. He was one who believed that if you want to be a triathlete, then you should be a triathlete. You have to do everything, the Olympic distance. We have no relays in our event. It was just straight off Olympic. And even after he passed, I stood with that. I never changed. But last year, I had one of my triathletes from one of the triathlon clubs has been behind me for years. Just put a sprint on, put a sprint, because a lot of my triathletes are now getting older and they want to continue racing, but they can't do the full Olympic. So I caved in last year for the first, and I did a sprint and I did an aqua bike. So now we have the Olympic, we have a sprint, and we have an aqua bike. So this year, again, I have the sprint, aquabike, and the full Olympic.
But no relays.
No release. I'm not going to cave in as yet. No, I'm not caving in.
Say not yet. Little by little, the change. Little by little,
Probably,
the release. We're
probably.
releasing a little bit by
Man,
little. Okay, okay.
you're racing, you do the whole thing by yourself. That's
I
it.
love it. So you said this year. So when is the race this year?
It's going to be June 8th. This is a Saturday.
Okay.
It's always the weekend before Father's Day. That's from beginning, traditionally. That's been, but except for the first year there were two races, one in the spring, one in the fall. That's how it came up instead of 82 to 83, because we had 80, 42. But since then, it's always the weekend before Father's Day.
And Father's Day is typically the third weekend in June.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So next year, so this year it's June 8th.
Yeah.
And in 2025, it will be on June 14th.
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing, because this is May, right? We're in May.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And June is right around the corner. So probably the people who are listening to this now may be locals who can probably sign up if they live in like the New York area, Boston, New England-ish.
Connecticut, New Jersey.
Connecticut.
I get people from those areas. Yeah.
Yeah. New Jersey, Philly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
June 8th, 2024. But for those of you who want to try in the tip of New York, right outside of the Hamptons. So this will be a good time. If you've never been to the Hamptons, you can drive through and look at all the beautiful homes and then go straight to Montauk.
But actually, Montauk is part of the Hamptons.
Oh, it
is. Yeah, we are one of the hamlets in the town of East Hampton. So it's 5 different hamlets that make up the town of East Hampton. So we are part of the Hamptons.
Well, there's that. Because when I looked at a map, I saw East Hampton.
Yeah. So I was about to say I'm going to act like a Hamptonite. I'm the Hamptons.
Yes. Let's all meet at the Hamptons next year.
There you go.
Let's go. For those of you who can come on June 8th of this year, please go and support Miss Merle. But for those of us, like myself, who may have to wait until 2025 because we already have obligations on the weekend of the 8th, please join us. And maybe we'll have a Try Beginner's Luck meetup on June 14th, 2025. So let's do this. I think it will be great. And I am just excited. So you've put on this race for 43 years. This is a beginner show. Well, it's geared towards beginners, but we have all ranges that listen. Tell us some of your beginner-friendly experiences that you've had with some of your first timers.
Well, one of the main things that I've been getting the emails already this year. I mean, I get all these crazy emails, but would I be able to finish? What is a wetsuit? I love that one. But the handle, the end, what you call it? Lose it. The end cap for the bike. Nobody ever knows what that is. I have to be telling them what is that. I'm trying. There's so much. I'm just trying to come with some of these stories that I get from these beginners, but it's so funny. And inevitably, I will tell them, you don't have to worry about anything. Just go out there, just have fun, do your thing. You're not going to come last. The race is not going to cut off before you. So before you finish the race, so just go out there, just relax, just don't worry. Would I be able to keep up with the swim? Yes, you can. Just follow everybody. And what if I get lost? You're not going to be first, so follow the person in front of you. So it's
like, so just follow the leader.
Yeah, you just
But what if following the leader goes wrong? Because sometimes the people in front don't know how to sight.
Well, it's going to be so many of them in front of that person that I don't think the whole bunch of them are going to go off.
That's true. That is true. That is very true. So can you recall a time where things that you've seen beginners do at your race that can perhaps help some other beginners who might be um, racing coming up, have races coming up?
It was there was one thing I thought this was so funny. There was this young lady who came out of the swim into transition, and then she sat down and she combed her hair. I actually got a picture of her because I said, I walked up to her and I said, "Do you know your transition time counts?" She said, "Oh, it's like, yes, my dear, I think you should move a little faster. You don't need to comb your hair at this point in time."
She took a beauty break. She says,
Oh,
excuse me,
yeah.
my transition is about
She was,
beauty.
yeah, she wasn't going out there until she was looking good. You know, I don't know, but but I thought that was one of that was a funny experience. That was funny.
Wow.
But what normally they do, because once you talk with these guys and stuff before the race at the packet pickup, I tend to have one-on-one with a lot of the newcomers to just let them feel comfortable. And they tend to do pretty good.
Mhm.
They tend to be okay. So
Now I'm going to ask you, uh, you said that you have a party. Now, is your party directly after the race or is it another weekend? But it's directly after the race, right? I want to
directly
make sure.
after the race, yeah.
Tell us about this party. I want to know more about it.
Well, we normally have an outdoor, we have barbecue, we have draft beer. Um, you know, it's we have the award ceremony and we have this whole spread. So, and it's on the lawn, so everybody relax and after the race, and you have that great camaraderie going on and the trading of jokes and things that happen on the course. And it's a fun time. And we have some music playing and we have a fun time after the race. It's great. It's great.
Okay. You
Mm.
had me at barbecue, being a Southern girl, I'm all about the barbecue.
Oh yeah. So you know you get that smoke wafting in the air and the scent of it coming up and
Now let me ask, is it a smoker? Is it
uh,
charcoal or do you
it's
have a gas
charcoal.
grill?
It's charcoal.
That that's all I need to know. We don't need nobody smoker. We don't need no gas grills.
It's charcoal.
All
We got
about
the
the
charcoal.
charcoal to get the fire, get some
We
wood
got the
chips in it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we were on the same page here. Okay, okay. Well, my goodness, this has been so good. If there's any advice that you could give to a beginner, what would it be?
I would tell them straight off, try to join a triathlon club because in that way you get to meet people who have the same interests as you. You'll be able to perhaps meet somebody who can mentor you there. You can get the benefits of having a good coach. So I think the main thing that's one of the first advice I will tell them: join a club. Or if you can't get to club, then maybe get some other people, join a group, make a group, have people who would train with you so you don't do this alone. Because it's easier when you have somebody calling and say, "Hey, Masanda, time to ride," rather than saying, "I have to get up and go and ride this morning. I don't feel like it, so I'm not going," you know? So that would be my number one advice.
Because let me just tell you, accountability is very real, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, it is.
Because if some days you just are not motivated and it's not anything wrong, it's just you're tired. And
Yep.
so to know that someone is counting on you to be there, I 100% endorse that message. Well, Miss Merrill, I can't let you leave here without doing rapid fire. Yes, I'm going to have to make some
Before,
different. Oh, go
before
ahead.
you said, I just want to mention one thing, which I think
Okay.
is important, is that the race is also a fundraiser for pancreatic cancer research.
Yes.
Okay, so since Robert died, he died from pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
And I have been using the race as a fundraiser for the Lost Garden Foundation for Pancreatic Cancer Research. So I
Mm,
think it's important to get that out there because we know we have lost so many good people from pancreatic cancer.
for
And I
sure.
remember when Robert died, and I tried research, and after I got my head out of the sand when he was first diagnosed, and I was looking for information on pancreatic cancer. There wasn't too much out there at the time. And over the years, I know that a lot of research have gone into it, and there is so much more information that people are actually living a lot longer now with
Mm-hmm.
pancreatic cancer than they were back then. So one of that's one of my passion is raising funds for pancreatic cancer. And through the race, um, I have been able to raise over $100,000 for pancreatic cancer research. So, and I'll keep going as long as I can. Mhm.
Thank you for pausing to say that. I was going to bring this in at towards the end, but I'm thankful that you did it right then because you know doing stuff for a cause is very different than doing something for profit.
Yeah.
And I remember what you said during our panel discussion. It's like, look, I'm not here to make money, but I'm here to create awareness and
Mhm.
to raise money for this. And I valued that so much. So if people wanted to give,
Mhm.
because perhaps they cannot come to the race this year, is there a way on the website for them to be able to just give a
Yeah.
donation
Yes, there
straight
is.
out?
Yes, they can go to the Run Sign Up registration page, and there is a section that says donate, and they, they can make donations there. It's
Okay.
Run Sign Up / Mighty Montauk, of course. Mhm.
So that's run sign up /
Mighty
mighty
Montauk.
Montauk. That's MONTAUK. But we'll
Mhm.
be sure to put that in the show notes so that people can
Okay.
have an easy access to do that. So if you want to be able to give this year because you can attend, please do that.
Yes.
And for next year, put on your calendar, save the date for June 14th, 2025. So June 14th, 2025. And yeah, so we can't let you leave here without going through some rapid fire questions. Um, I've enjoyed hearing your story and, just seeing how you have come out of your shell and, being vulnerable and sharing with us. Cause I know this isn't your thing. So I appreciate you coming onto the podcast and taking some time out of your schedule to do this. This means a lot to me.
You're welcome.
So thank you. And let's get going. So I'm going to ask you questions that's related to your life and some things about
Mhm.
your race. And we're just going to make it up. But I'm making this up
Okay.
as we go
Okay.
to tailor it to you. All right.
Okay.
Favorite song? We'll start easy and then we'll progress.
Ah, favorite song. I am real old school.
Mm-hmm.
I like Aretha Franklin, you
Mm.
know, respect. I am woman, those really old school. I know people may not like to hear me say this, but I don't like the modern music.
And that's fair.
Okay.
That is
Well, I'm
fair.
really old school. I go back. I go way back, So
We like what we like, and that's
yeah.
okay. That's
Good.
why it's what you like, not
Oh,
what
okay.
we like.
Good.
So I'm here
Mhm.
for that.
Okay.
Um, you run a motel. What is
Mhm.
the best thing about running a motel?
My guests, meeting and chatting with my guests on a daily basis is one of the best things about being in the motel business. You meet such a wide cross section of people. I mean, I'll be honest and say there are some who, when they check in, you're checking to see what time they'll be checking out. But on the other hand, there are those who would check in and you wish they could stay for the whole summer.
Mm.
So you meet, it's that's the best part, the people.
And let me just clarify that she doesn't just run it; she owns it. So let me put some respect on the boss.
Oh,
Okay, let me put some respect on that. Um, what's your favorite thing about Montauk?
oh, there's so much. But one of the things I love about Montauk is the fact that it's a small community and people look out for each other. I remembered when Robert got sick, people were coming out of the woodwork to offer help. People I didn't even know knew that Robert was ill were there to help. And I am so grateful to all these people who stood with me that I will never forget Montauk. It's just, it's it's a beautiful place to live. It's lovely.
What's one thing you can't do without as a race director?
My volunteers, I can't do without them. They are the backbone of the race. You know, everything else, yeah, there are a lot of other things on the side, but you can't do a race without volunteers. So, yeah.
And if you can share with us one of your most prized memories of you and your husband and his triathlon experience for this audience.
Oh boy.
I know it might not be rapid, but we would love to hear it.
Okay. What can I say about Robert and his triathlon days? I remembered one of his earliest triathlon, and he actually podium. He came in third in his age group, and he was over the moon because, as I said, it was a new sport. He was new into it. He was a marathoner. He actually did the Boston Marathon and the one in Chicago, but it was the first foray into the world of triathlon. And I remember he was so excited about the fact that he podium. And it was just coming home after that race, it was just unbelievable, the joy that he had, you know. So I think that was a precious moment to relive. Yeah.
Especially back in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, so,
yeah.
Well, Miss Merle, we thank you so much for being here. We have the saying on Try Beginners Luck, whenever you try, you always win. And we thank you for staying in the game, for trying something different yourself, because you don't have a triathlon background, but you were able to jump right into the triathlon business and create an experience for over hundreds. Because if you have 700 people at a race, you've changed the lives of thousands.
Yeah.
And so we thank you for creating this space that's fun and family friendly on the island of Montauk, or in the city of Montauk. We'll leave it at that. The town of Montauk, on Montauk, the RJA Memorial Mighty Montauk Race. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for viewing this with us. Be sure to check out Ask a Coach. Ask a Coach is on YouTube only. We've had some really good episodes, and you don't want to miss this really good information that our coaches are putting out there. And if you have questions, be sure to send them in to us. You can email us at tblpodbiz@trybeginnersluck.com. That's it for us. My name is Mashonda Shines, and we are out. Peace.
Bye. Thank
everybody.
you so much. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybegинnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try Beginner's Luck, you always win.